So I thought I would do this video because I saw something recently and it made me think, like, what advice would I give to like Booktube newbies? Because I've been in this space for like how many years? So I've seen stuff, I've done different types of videos, I've done this or that. So it's like, it's kind of like a trial and error thing. So I came up with like how many different things, and then I asked my community what they think is good advice to give to people who are Booktube newbies. So I'll tell you those ones afterwards. So my number one thing is know why you're going into this space. Like, are you going into this space because you're a hobbyist and you want to like talk with other book people and all that stuff? I'd say Booktube would be the right thing for you. But if you're looking to be more of a influencer, I wouldn't consider Booktube to be the influencer space. I would consider that to be more Book Talk or Instagram, that type of thing. If you're just looking to just promote books that way and not actually really get down to the nitty gritty of like how this book made you feel and all that stuff, if you want to do like quick stuff, then I would say Book Talk or the shorts, when it comes to YouTube, would be the place to go. If you want to actually have like good book discussions and things like that, then Booktube's more for you. So that's why I would say, like, know what you want to do when you get into this space. Like, what type of content creator do you want to be? That's more important. Like for me, I don't personally like Book Talk and all that stuff, so I kind of stay off of there, and I like more of Booktube. And yeah, it could be a little slower to grow on this platform. It all depends on your personality and basically what you read, because if it's more popular books, you're going to get seen more often. The algorithm's going to pick up your stuff more often than stuff that maybe isn't as popular. So number 2 is your first video can be the Booktube newbie tag. I'll leave that down in my description, but I think it's a good tag to do when you're a beginner, because it helps to introduce you to an audience that wants to stick around and check out and see what your channel does. So it's a good introductory tag that will let people know what you like to read, your personality, things like that. That's what people care about. So I think for me, that is a good tag to do. So I'm going to leave that in my description, and you could check out that tag for yourself if you want to. So number 3 is don't compare yourself to others. I see this a lot, where a lot of people like tend to maybe follow what other people are doing and all that stuff. And I just think going down that type of route where you're copying others isn't always the best thing. It's always good to be yourself and to do what you want to do on your channel. That's the best thing you can do is be yourself, and try not to compare yourself to other people, because you're never going to measure up to that high standard you have, for other people. Like, you could put people on a pedestal and now you're like, I want to be like this person, when this person's just a regular person that films themselves on camera. That's it. So I think it's better just be yourself and be honest as much as you can be. So number 4 is don't overanalyze your videos. I see people who tend to do that. I've used to follow creators who used to be really like with the editing, and they would edit out a lot of different things. And I felt like they really edit out a lot of their personality, a lot of like what makes them them. And so the content gets kind of boring. And so you really just don't care anymore to watch this person. So I actually like people who either they don't edit at all, or they edit very little. I actually prefer those because your personality comes out more. Things like that. I like that. So overanalyzing yourself and trying to make your content perfect, it's never going to be perfect. It never is. And you're never going to put yourself, never going to rise to that level that you put yourself as. So I think try not to overanalyze your stuff is the best thing you can do. yeah, mistakes may be made. You may go back to this video that you made 3 years ago and you may be like, I don't really like what I said here, but you know what? You change and you grow. You know, I think of it more as my content, I think of it more as like a diary, you know? And so as you grow, your, you know, how you feel and everything is going to change. You know, your perspective is going to change, things like that. So number 5 is try to stick to the subject of what you titled the video. So I've seen content creators do this where they'll start their video off and they're like, hi everyone. And then they kind of go into this like whole diatribe of like, you know, oh, first of all, I want to acknowledge blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like sitting there thinking to myself, I don't care. Stop trying to virtue signal or act like you're such this great person because you want to recognize this or this or this. And I'm like, no, shut up and just talk about what you titled your video. No one cares. No one cares. Just stick to the subject. When you go off on other things, people tune out. So yeah, try to stick to what you titled the video. Is it a wrap-up? You're talking about the books you read. Is it a tag? Just read what the questions are and answer the questions. That's it. Just stick to the subject. So yeah, I've run into videos like that. Like I literally saw a video from a person that did that. Within 30 seconds, I clicked off of this person. And I was like, nope, not for me. I'm not watching any more videos from this person. Okay, next one, number 6. Your personality or how you present yourself is what you're going to attract to your channel. So if you constantly talk about drama, you're going to get drama. You're going to get people who are going to judge you based on the drama that you talk about. So if you just stick to these books and these types of books, you're going to get those types of people, you know, coming in to your videos. You know, like for me, I read mostly, I'd say 98% of what I read is romance novels. So I'm going to attract other people who like romance novels, you know, that type of thing. I do attract some other people who are just here for the vibes, but for the majority of it, the people who come to my channel and watch me is because they want to talk about romance. So that type of thing. So I think like if you were going to do like your name too, like if you're going to come up with like a username, you can add in like something like the name I had before was Brandy Reads Romance. And then I was like, well, I'm just going to do Brandy Reads and that's it. But you can go and do thing stating where you like romance. And I'd also say this would be another thing I forgot to mention on here on my list, but I could add, is try not to have a name that's super long. Because if you do find a lot of people who like you, now they're trying to remember what your name is again because it's so long. So try to stick to something fairly short. People can remember it better that way. And I would say try to stick to the same name. Because I've seen some people over the years change their names up a little bit. So I definitely would say, like, if you want to keep like a little bit of privacy and all that stuff, definitely don't put your full name in. Maybe change to something else. Because some people that you know in real life, if you don't want to tell them that you have a channel, they may discover you eventually. So I would say definitely choose a name that you won't get tired of. And definitely choose a name that's not super long. And choose something that is, I would say, references in a way of what your subject is. Like if you're a booktuber, definitely something to where it's about books. You know, that type of thing. Like The Hidden Shelf or something like that. You know, you come up with some kind of like name for yourself where it represents your channel. It's much easier that way, you know? People know exactly what type of channel you are. So as number 7, is if you feel discouraged, don't delete your channel, just take a break, take time away. I've seen people do this where they delete their channels and then they decide to come back later on and then they got to restart a whole new channel, that type of thing. I would say if you get tired and you get very like burnt out and all that stuff, which people tend to do, they get burnt out. Don't delete your channel. You can privatize your channel, or you can just privatize your videos and then, you know, go from there. Because when you do delete your channel, you also delete everyone else that you were following on that channel. And unless you wrote it down, you know, for another account, you're not going to remember all the people that you were following on that channel. So it is better to just privatize it. It makes it just easier to do it that way. Also, you don't need to have a comment section if you don't want to. Like if you're afraid people are going to send you nasty comments, that type of thing, and you're too shy to like interact with other people, you can have it to where you don't have a comment section. You could just have your comment section turned off. I've seen people who, for myself over the years, I rather just pause some of my video comments because maybe something I said 2 years ago, this person may comment and I'm like, what did I say in that video? So you can comment your comment sections too. You know, like you can pause them, you know, pause them. But I'd say definitely don't delete your channel, but you can take time away, take a vacation time away and just privatize everything. Number 8 is ask other creators what they use to create thumbnails, editing, anything software or editing apps, microphone, lighting, all that type of different stuff. But I would say to you, don't buy any of that for at least a year. Have a Booktube channel for at least a year before you decide to invest in anything, like any type of equipment. Like if you want to go and invest in like a vlogging camera, or you want to invest in like better lighting, I would say for you, if you're not getting very good lighting in the area that you're in, go to a different area in your house, you know, or your apartment. Like for me, I get a lot of lighting that comes in through this window right here. So this is the area that I like to film in a lot because it gives me direct light. I don't have to go and put on any lights or anything like that. Same thing with a microphone. The microphone I use is the one on my phone, but I do want to invest in a microphone. You can look that stuff up on Amazon and find, you know, microphones that attach onto your phone, or if you want to do a vlogging camera, that type of thing. But I'd say definitely be on YouTube for like at least a year, because then you kind of like get the gist of like how everything works, how you do everything, that type of thing. You don't want to invest in a lot of things and then after 6 months you're like, I don't really like doing this. And then you spend all that money on like all this equipment. So I definitely would say start cheap, you know, start very cheap. I still film on my phone. I film on my phone. The microphone is on my phone, that type of thing. If you feel like that you don't speak loud enough, you can invest in a cheap microphone, you know, something you find on Amazon, and it would help you to speak better into the microphone rather than from a distance. So yeah, definitely do Booktube for at least a year or so, because then you get more of your footing and everything. You feel more confident and all that stuff. The first year is pretty much like, you know, discovering who you are on camera and going from there. You know, do you like filming yourself, or is this like, it's just not for you? It took me a while to get used to filming in front of the camera. It's still like, I still get kind of like, you know, I judge myself sometimes, but you really have to practice. So the other one is, don't get political. You automatically make your audience smaller. If you are the type of person where you're very political in and outside of like social media, I would say that is really, you're really putting yourself in a situation where you're going to be very argumentative. You're going to get people who argue with you back and forth. Or you're going to get people who are very much going to be inside of a bubble as you, and you're not going to grow as fast. You know, so this is why I would say try not to be political on your channel, because most people just don't want to hear your politics, don't want to hear what you have to say. They just care about the book that you're talking about, you know? Now, I'd say if you read a lot of political books and that's your type of channel, then, you know, obviously your audience is going to be like that too. But for me, I'm romance. I don't want to talk about politics on my channel. I just want to talk about happy endings. So that, for me, that type of stuff is not for me. And I prefer to just keep it away from my channel. So the next one, I would say plan ahead. I was going to show my calendar in here, but it's in my closet. I don't feel like getting it. But I have a calendar. It's a paper calendar. And I go and I write down my ideas for videos and things like that. So what I do is I write in pencil my idea. And if, say, I'm like, after a while, I'm like, you know what? I don't like that idea anymore. I can erase it on my calendar and I don't have to worry about it again. Or see, you decide you don't want to go and film it at that particular time, you can go and change up the date of when you're going to film that video. So that's what I like to do. I like to pre-film a lot. And I would say you want to pre-film videos that are not what the most current thing is. Like, say if something is currently trending, you're not going to want to wait 6 months to post that video. You're going to want to post it now. So I'd say anything that is more of like, say if you want to film monthly book tags, that's a good thing to pre-film, because then, you know, you can go and like have more time to like edit it if you want to edit it. Or like I said, you put yourself on there to where you pre-film all this stuff. And that way, if you just decide later, you're like, you know what, I want to take a break from this, you still have videos that you pre-filmed ahead of time that you now can still go out. So nobody knows that you're missing, you know, no one knows that you're missing from the space. And also, I like to pre-film, like, not only like book tags, but I also like to pre-film, say you do recommendation videos. Those are good to pre-film too. And also, you can go and take a vacation. Say you want to take a vacation, you're like, well, you know, I can't take this time away because it ends up hurting my channel when I don't film these videos or this specific time, you know. You can pre-film and it saves you, in the end it does save you by not spending so much time, you know, editing and all this other stuff. So I do like to pre-film a lot of my videos, like especially like when it comes to my book tag videos, or if I sometimes do have discussion videos, sometimes I like to pre-film those as well, that type of thing. The only things I don't pre-film is I don't pre-film my vlogs for that month. I usually film them within that month, or anything that comes with, if I have a monthly wrap up, I will go and film it maybe a couple days before the wrap up posts. So I usually try to do that. But anything else, like if it's a discussion video, if it's a tag, anything like that, I like to pre-film that stuff, and it's much easier to have it already ready to go and I don't have to worry about it. So the next one I would say is don't worry about editing your videos like right now or at all, because you're going to, it's a learning process. So a lot of people, I think, kind of like either get really nervous about putting videos out there because they're like, well, I don't know how to edit. Now I got to learn how to edit and all that stuff. You don't have to do that. Like I rarely, if ever, edit my videos. Sometimes I do have some things edited, but it's things that I was able to do easy. Otherwise, I try not to do a lot of editing because it will take up a lot of my time, and I really don't have that time to do it. So, and I don't want this to feel like a job for me. So what I've learned to do is I've tried to be better at like how I speak and try not to like, sometimes I repeat myself. And so I have to like put in my head, okay, stop saying this word, stop saying that word. So what I've been doing over the years is I've been trying to get better at how I speak on camera. That's what I've been trying to do, like for ever since I started, is I've been trying to get better at speaking out loud and things like that, and knowing like this term and that term and what to say for this, that type of thing. So that's what I try to do, is I try to do that. You don't have to edit if you don't want to, but if you do want to edit, I would say maybe wait to edit, or while you're doing YouTube videos, you learn how to edit, and that way you could take your time at it and learn as you go, and you know, as you grow as a channel, you can learn, and then maybe get like really good at editing, you know. But for me, I would say definitely don't do that at the beginning, because, or if at all, because people, you can do all the editing you want. It doesn't mean it's going to grow your channel faster. It doesn't mean that you're going to, you know, get higher numbers and all that stuff. Yeah, it's definitely take your time on it, you know, because it can be very time consuming. I've heard this a lot. A lot of people don't like to edit. So the next one is practice talking on the camera. You can always film a video, and that's what I would say, definitely practice a lot when you're going to film videos, because not everybody is going to be a natural on camera. Like for me, it's taken me a while to get a little bit more comfortable with filming myself rather than filming other people, like filming my kids or whatever it is, or filming my family. I very much prefer to be behind the camera, not in front of it. So it took me a while to get used to doing this. So I definitely would say it's good to practice. And then if you don't like it, you can always delete it. You don't have to post it. You can always delete it. And then try again. You know, try again and keep trying and keep trying. Practicing makes it to where you do get better filming yourself. Especially if you're more of a introvert, you're more shy and all that stuff. It takes time. It does take time. And if you practice beforehand, it does help. It does help ease a little bit to where you're not as nervous, and you're not as maybe awkward on the camera, that type of thing. I did feel like I was very awkward when I first started my videos. And I do feel like I've gotten better. Like I feel like I have improved when it comes to filming myself. So yeah, I'd say more of my personality has come out than what I've kind of like kept myself reserved. So yeah. And then I would say the last thing for my advice before I delve into other people is don't focus on the numbers when it comes to any type of like gaining a following, whether it comes to views, when it comes to your subscribers. At the beginning, it's going to be tough. You're not going to get any views. You're not going to get any views. It's going to be tough. You just have to keep going, you know, because if you go and get discouraged very quickly, you're not going to grow your own audience. You know, like some people think like I could do an artificial audience and that'll come in, and it's like, no, because your views, like if you have like all these thousands of subscribers that are all like in these inflated numbers, these fake numbers, but you're only getting like 100 views on your video or less, that's not good. That's not good. You're inflating your numbers to make yourself look like you're more important than what you are. So this is why I would say definitely try to gain your audience organically, you know, by keep doing videos. The more videos you do, the more the YouTube algorithm is going to pick it up and put it out there and see who decides to watch the video. I would say titling your videos are very important too. When it comes to maybe somebody's looking for a specific book and you're talking about it. If you do a book review where you're talking about a specific book, there will be people who will want to watch that for that type of book. You know, some people like separate, simple videos where they just talk about one book. Some people will want to watch a video where you're talking about a bunch of books, you know, that type of thing. So it all depends on how you title your videos. So I'll go into what other people were saying. So this one person, and I'll leave these creators down below in my description if you want to check them out, you want to subscribe to them, that type of thing. So the first one says, don't feel bad if you aren't the type to just get in front of a camera and talk about a topic. Writing notes or even a script that you refer to is okay. I tried doing off-the-cuff book review videos and quickly learned it was not how I could present my thoughts coherently and succinctly? I'm bad with some words. I felt such shame in having to make sure I had my notes script when filming, but now I'm confident in how I present myself in my videos. Whatever your filming preferences, you should feel confident too. And I agree. I said there's nothing wrong with creating notes or a script for yourself because it does help. And so that's what I like to do. Like when I was doing notes for here, I wrote down all of my stuff that I wanted to talk about. Because if I wanted to talk about all those things and I didn't have anything written down, I'm going to forget a lot of stuff. So it's good to have things written down because it does help you in your videos. So yeah, maybe writing a script for yourself or writing notes for yourself does help when it comes to your videos. So another person said, audio is important. This year I realized you can beef up the audio in iMovie in a few seconds, and I was like, bro, really? Audio is arguably more important than the video quality starting out. Definitely do your best for great video quality, but people can overlook video quality most of the time for great sound. And so another person said they agreed with that. And I agree. I think if your video quality isn't as good, because not everybody's video quality is going to be great, especially depends on what you film on. I film on, like I said, I film on my phone. I have the newest iPhone that I film on, but it's not the expensive ones. It's just a regular iPhone, you know? I think, what was it? What do I have? The iPhone 16, I think, something like that. I have that one, and that's what I film on. So of course the video quality is going to be pretty good, and it is better than my last phone that I filmed on. The video quality wasn't as sharp. So it all depends on what you film on. But I would say audio is definitely more important than video. Video could be not as good, but if the audio is good, people can hear you, that's going to be more important. So I would say, like, you could invest in a cheap vlogging camera, but if it has like a good sound coming from it, and you know you're speaking into the sound and people can hear you, that is definitely more important. So the next person had said, don't feel like you have to do what everyone else is doing. Trends come and go. Try different things if you want to, not because you have to. Most of all, have fun and learn as you go. And that is very true. You definitely learn as you go. The more times you're on here, the better you're going to get when it comes to filming your videos, when it comes to posting your videos, when it comes to titling them, when it comes to thumbnails, when it comes to different things like that. You're going to get better as you go. And so, yeah, I think that's great advice. Let me see if there was someone else that had said something. I'm pretty sure there was someone else. Here it is. Another person had said, this is similar to what you mentioned in your post, but I batch record. I have chronic illnesses, so it is best for me to record as many videos as I feel up to creating one after another. Then I have a decent sized backlog of videos to pull from and post. I only just finished posting the last of my May videos and am working through some of June's. But this means that if I don't have the energy to record for a while, it doesn't matter. I usually have a month or two worth of videos to edit and post at my leisure. And so I said, yes, great advice. And that's one of the things I had mentioned in here is pre-filming, because it does really, really help. Like, I suffer with depression, and there are days when I don't want to film. I don't want to do anything. I just want to just be left alone and just do my own thing. And I don't want to have to worry about doing all this stuff for my channel. So that's why pre-filming is really good, because you can set a schedule for yourself that already has all these videos ready to go. And you can deal with your whatever you're dealing with, you know, or say if you do have other illnesses like chronic pain, different things like that, sometimes you may not want to film because you're in a lot of pain, you know, and if you are in that situation and you want to take some time away, you already have videos that you already pre-recorded, you know, on your good days that you can use in the meantime. And those definitely help a lot. Definitely help a lot. That's why I say like pre-filming is your friend. It is very helpful. And I do love to pre-film. Like this is probably my second video I filmed today, you know, and this is going to post months down the line. I'm not posting it when I'm filming it. I'm going to post it months ahead. So it definitely does help. So I think that's it. I think that is it of what I was saying in here. Yeah, that is it. But yeah, like when it comes to, if anybody wants advice on when it comes to like, what should I use? Like say if I use an app for my editing, and when I want to put on, like say if I want to put on, like I showed screenshots of what other people were saying, I use a particular app for that doesn't give me any issues. Some apps you have to pay for. This one here is pretty much free. I don't have to pay for it. Right now at least. If they change the app, I may end up having to use a different app. But I use this app here for when it comes to filming and things like that. When I have to edit, when I have to add in different things, I use that app. The other apps I use for my thumbnails, there's two different ones I use. Sometimes I don't get really too much with my thumbnails, especially for certain videos. Like say if it's a video that's a tag, I don't really get too fancy with mine. So I use this one a lot here. I love this one. This one is for free. You don't have to pay money to have it. But if you wanted to, you could pay to add, you know, give you those extra features and all that stuff. But it's really fun to work with. It's fairly easy to work with. And so I use that one a lot. The also one I use is this one here too. You also, again, can pay if you want to do the extra features with it. But most of the time, I just go on to this one here to do just mainly find backgrounds. I don't really do much else on there. I just use it just to find certain backgrounds that I'm going to need for particular videos. So I do that. Those are the main ones I use, is those ones. I just use those three, and that is pretty much it. That's what I usually do when I'm working with, you know, making my videos. Otherwise, like I said before, I film on my phone. I do that. Make sure, like, when you have a phone that you have a good amount of memory, you know, or if you have an iPhone, make sure you kind of like go through all of your past, like anything that you've deleted, make sure you kind of delete it off of the cloud. You know, make sure you delete off the cloud, because a lot of it ends up getting stored. And I was having that issue where I didn't have a lot of space, and I kept having this issue where it would say I ran out of space. So I ended up upgrading my cloud and have it to where now I have a lot more space. And plus also my daughters have iPhones too. So they share my gallery space with them, so they don't have to pay extra for it. So I pay extra so that way they have more space on their phones and stuff like that. So that's pretty much what I do. But that's the advice that I would give right now. I'm sure there's probably other things that maybe I didn't mention in here or completely forgot about. But I would say, like, if you are a content creator watching this and you have any advice for any Booktube newbies, leave it down in the comment section. So that way, if anybody comes across this that is new to Booktube and they need some advice on how to start, you know, it'll be down in the comment section. But otherwise, any of the people I talked about in here, I will leave them in my description. I will also leave that Booktube newbie tag in my description too. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video here. Have yourselves a good day. Take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and I'll see you on the next video. All right, bye.